Good evening. Tonight is always one of my favorite nights of the year. It celebrates two things: the impact of this extraordinary organization, and tonight, the career of our amazing honoree, Sonia Bain. Sonia has many legal accomplishments, but I want to introduce you to my friend, Sonia, a leader, mentor, trailblazer, and fierce competitor. Sonia's sister put it so well. Sonia is like a parent, and that is the firstborn to immigrants, and as an immigrant herself, coming here at age 3, she had to learn the ropes for herself, my parents, and for me and my brother. My parents are professional doctors working and trying to build their own community in the United States. Sonia learned, risked, and taught us these skills. It is why everyone who has ever met her never forgets her. She makes strong impressions, and you are left with the strength, courage, and care. She's truly one of a kind. Now, most of us know Sonia's competitive fire and determination when it comes to the business of real estate and real estate law. You may even know her competitiveness when it comes to golf. And she is competitive. But it's also coupled with tenacity, empathy, and a strategic mindset. When Sonia was in high school, she participated in a volleyball showcase tournament where recruiters come to assess players for scholarship offers. I'm pretty sure that Sonia is the only person in this room who went to a volleyball tournament but walked out with an offer to play badminton. Having looked up the characteristics of a professional badminton player, yes, there is such a thing, it's clear why the recruiter really tried to convince Sonia. Exceptional talent and commitment, check. I've seen Sonia take volatile situations and find common ground, de-escalate hotheads, and guide participants to practical solutions. Her ability to multitask is amazing. Her dedication to her clients is only surpassed by her dedication to her friends and family. Sonia is an ardent supporter of her boys, cheering on baseball, attending piano recitals, all while answering a ton of emails from her clients. Badminton players have peak stamina and fast reaction times. Check. Sonia can work around the clock to meet tight deadlines, breaking only for a quick family dinner. And trust me, she has a very fast reaction time to seller comments. Physical and mental agility. Check. Sonia's strategic legal advice, ability to lay out risks for clients and navigate competing interests requires precision and mental acuity. Strategic play, check. Pros focused on building advantages in rallies, varying their shots, and thinking multiple moves ahead. Sonia does all of that with law. During the early days of COVID, Sonia and I worked on several deals together. One night, we were on a Zoom call with a particularly challenging seller, and as the Zoom boxes popped up on the screen, one of the seller's senior team members stated that he had to drop early to babysit. Yeah, you all know where this is going. I asked, "Oh, whose kids are you babysitting?" Thinking maybe it's a niece or a nephew. And he replies, "Mine." I looked at Sonia. Her face had the exact same expression as mine. And then I replied, "When they're yours, it's called parenting." Realizing the awkwardness of this encounter had totally changed the dynamic of the negotiations, Sonia then immediately dove into the issues list. So fortunately for us, Sonia did not pursue a career as a professional badminton player, but her versatility and ability to pivot to opportunities have been defining themes. She started her legal career in bankruptcy law. Some of her clients own large real estate portfolios. She, like all of us, found the real estate much more interesting. Chris related to me that one of the things he admires most about his wife is her ability to see the big picture. But sometimes the picture she sees has proved to be a bit too big. When Sonia decorated their first apartment, she found a beautiful armoire online that was a complete steal. They eagerly waited 3 weeks for its arrival, rejoicing in the deal that they had gotten and talking about where they would fit it in the apartment. Turns out they had plenty of space. The cabinet was actually 12 inches by 24 inches. She's definitely a real estate lawyer, not an architect. Sonia makes things look easy, from raising 2 boys, Caleb and Yannick, and to wonderful young men, to rising to the top of her profession, including being named to the Power 100, all while helping others. She's been a wonderful mentor to so many upcoming lawyers. A former colleague said, Sonia's authentic, collegiate, with a firm sense of empathy when it comes to client needs. She's always been likable, which is a quality that's highly underestimated in the legal profession. In addition to her legal work, Sonia has been a tremendous WX board member and past president. She had the unenviable task of guiding WX during the turbulent COVID time. Sonia worked tirelessly with her WX board to make sure we switched to virtual programming and that members were connecting. Sonia led the organization to rethink the Gala that year, turning it into a virtual viewing party celebrating our past winners and all of our members. So in 2021, when we were finally able to gather in person, it was a raucous crowd. Frankly, we sounded a lot more like Rebney. And Sonia had a hard time settling the crowd down, similar to tonight. People were just so excited to free friends that they talked over her welcome. Now Caleb, Sonia's oldest, watched the event virtually and texted Sonia right after her remarks to express how mad he was that people did not listen to her. So Caleb's here tonight, so let's make sure that after we raucously welcome Sonia to the stage, we listen. I want to end with the following note that I received from Sonia's brother, and I think this summarizes everything about her. Sonia has always been the built-in leader of our family. While our parents were working to build their careers in a new country, she stepped up early, guiding us, cheering us on, and paving the way for my sister and me. She took me to my first concert, my first car show, and never missed a Little League game. That drive and instinct to lead, something she definitely gets from her father, have carried through every stage of her life. The same energy and persistence that shaped our family now defines her remarkable career and the impact she continues to make today. It's no surprise to us that we're celebrating her today, and we're so proud of her. Please join me in celebrating my dear friend, Sonia Bain. Yo, they wanna know.
You guys are gonna have the dole every year now, right? Whew. First of all, I am so overwhelmed. That's part of my speech later on, but I am so overwhelmed, so I'm just gonna take a deep breath. Sarah, where are you? I am so thankful for your friendship and your leadership, and we in this industry are so grateful and so thankful for your fierce leadership. Thank you, my friend. Okay, good evening, everyone. It It really is such an incredible honor to stand here before you tonight as WX's 2025 Woman of the Year. I truly am deeply humbled and honestly still overwhelmed, like I've been saying. Having served on the WX board, as you've heard, for several years, I know firsthand the caliber of women considered for this honor. So when Lauren Cahill and Mimi Ray-Goretsky told me I had been chosen, I was completely floored. Actually, the way they told me is worth a story worth sharing. It was back in March or April. Some of you have heard this, but those of you who haven't, be ready. It's back in March or April this year when they reached out to me and said they wanted to discuss certain legal issues that WX was grappling with. This was during the whirlwind of executive orders that were flying around. Since I often help WX with legal issues, this was not unusual. When they suggested, let's meet over, instead of meeting over Zoom, let's discuss this over wine, that also was not unusual. So there I am, braced for more frustrated conversations over the confusion of the recently imposed executive orders. Thank goodness we had the wine. And their impact on WX when Lauren, with a perfectly straight face, explains to me that in order to avoid any potential violations, the board had voted this year to award the 2025 Woman of the Year to a man. My response, as you might imagine, was no way. When Lauren finally cracked a smile, it took her a while. When she finally cracked a smile and admitted it was a joke, sorry for the men in this room who thought you might have had a chance. Where's John Mechanic? Sorry, John. And when she revealed it was me as the honoree, well, then I was totally confused. I was in quite disbelief, truly. It had never crossed my mind that I would be placed in the same company as women I've admired for years. Women like Sarah Queen, Marjorie Sang, Ellen Barry, Yvonne Nelson, Peggy Silver, Elise Wagner, Susan Swansea, Wendy Rowden, Ronnie Hackett, Carmen Browser, who are here, Joanne Podell, my original sponsor, where is she, and my heart. And the first Woman of the Year whose gala I attended, so many others. Even standing here tonight, I'm still in a bit of shock. WX, as you now have learned, and the WX family, which extends to our mentees, our scholar alumni group, holds significant value in my life. My own family can attest that aside from family obligations and work responsibilities, attending WX meetings and events are very much a priority for me. I think after tonight, my boys and my husband, Chris, can finally appreciate and understand why so many occasions and evenings I chose to be at WX events and withstood the late night commutes and the wine. Like so many of us, I've spent a good portion of my career with my head down, doing the work, putting in the long hours over long weeks, weekends, holidays, juggling family and deadlines, keeping as many balls up in the air as possible, and forgetting sometimes to pause and recognize how far I've come, how far we've all come. But tonight, I'm pausing, I'm looking up, and I'm allowing myself to feel the full magnitude and full joy of this moment. Now, Sarah, I adore you so much. You know that. But I adore you so much that I even let you get away with calling me Sonia instead of Sonia. It's actually very endearing, and please don't change. It also happens to be the way a lot of my southern in-laws pronounce my name, so you're in good company. But names have always intrigued me. They carry identity, pride, and sometimes misunderstandings. One of the most influential and daunting decisions I think we as parents have to make is to name our children. In choosing their names, I was born in Amritsar, India, into a Punjabi Sikh family, and my parents named me Sonia Kaur Uppal. Notably, Sonia, selected by my father, is neither Indian nor Sikh in origin. It's actually Italian. And it's a name imported into India following Rajiv Gandhi's marriage to Sonia from Italy. 22 years ago, I married Christopher Michael Bain and adopted his surname. He's American and not Indian. But I've always kept Kaur, K-A-U-R, Kaur, which appears everywhere because it represents my Sikh identity. And it reminds me that I have something to represent. But I didn't always feel that way. For years, I just wanted to find ways to fit in and not stand out or be considered different. In the early 1970s, my father moved here from India to the United States on his own. My mother and I followed him a few years later after he had established himself and settled into his medical practice at Wyckoff Heights Hospital in Ridgewood, Queens, near the now hip Bushwick, Brooklyn. Remarkably, he still has his practice there, now going on over 50 years. He's waving his hand to show you where he is in case you didn't know. Going on 50 years serving that community, and he still continues to make that trip from Long Island 3 times a week in to see his patients. Soon after my sister was born, our family moved out of Brooklyn and settled in Roslyn on Long Island, here in New York. And frankly, I've never moved out of New York since. We were, back then, one of 2 Indian families in our entire district. And for all of our school years, we were the only Sikh family. Growing up in Roslyn, a mostly Jewish community, met my sister, brother, and I went to plenty of bar and bat mitzvahs, and probably knew more about how to celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas than we knew about our own traditions. In fact, I told someone that I thought this event tonight actually felt like I was finally getting my bat mitzvah. Mazel tov to me. Anyway, we were different, and we stood out. Despite me and my siblings trying to be low-key wherever we went, it was hard not to attract attention where we went as a family, especially with my tall, turban, handsome dad, my beautiful mom. We always had a presence. No matter where my dad was, he always dressed sharply, even wearing his suit to Madison Square Garden to root on his adored New York Knicks. He was always representing. It took me longer to realize and be okay with the fact that I was too. In fact, I recall a funny story that happened to me as I was a recent junior partner at a law firm, and a client called, and he was bidding on the purchase of a building. And he was so excited to share that when he told the seller that the name of his lawyer is Sonia Bain, the seller's immediate reaction was, "Oh, she's Punjabi like me." Okay, so my client was thrilled because he thought this may help him win this deal. And then when I asked, "Wait, did you mention my middle name, Kaur?" And he said, "No, it was the last name, Bain." Turns out that Bain, sometimes spelled with an S, is also a Punjabi last name. Who knew? So I was clearly never going to hide my Punjabi heritage, not even with an Italian first name, nor by marrying a white man. It was around this time that I too realized, like my dad, that I had to represent. So after the initial shock of being awarded this honor, panic did set in. It was shocking, it was honoring, and panicking. There's a lot riding on being the honoree of this event. I know, I've supported many honorees. You have to figure out how to sell out a room and give an inspiring speech. The only thing harder was finding a dress. Anyway, I went back and listened to past honoree speeches. What stood out most wasn't just about their resumes or their career milestones, which were very, very impressive. It was really their honesty and the way they gave us a peek behind the curtain and let us see who they were. Beyond the titles, and learn about their challenges, their values, their identities. So tonight, I want to continue sharing a bit more about mine. Law school was never a plan. I was pre-med, not a surprise with 2 doctor parents. But after a volleyball injury during my freshman year, yeah, volleyball, not badminton. After volleyball injury ended my college sports plan and gave me back hours of free time, I took a part-time job at a local law firm. And those attorneys truly mentored me. And that detour changed everything. So detours, let me tell you, are where the real story begins. Those early years out of law school were tough. It was the mid-90s. I was working within a bankruptcy group, as Sarah mentioned, at a mid-sized law firm at the time called Robinson Brogg. Later, as the economy shifted and real estate deals were happening again, I moved firms to join a newly minted real estate group at a firm that merged with the legendary Dreyer and Traub Group. Those of you who've been around long enough in this industry in New York City, I'm sure you know of those attorneys and the caliber of their clients, who were the Titan families in New York City in real estate, the Litwins, the Helmsleys, the Walentis, the Trumps. As you may imagine, it was tough, but I had the chance to work on transformative projects, shaping some of the most special parts of New York City: Tribeca, Nolita, Dumbo, Long Island City, Hudson Yards. And despite the hard work, the grueling hours, I was just falling more and more in love with doing real estate deals and with New York. Watching neighborhoods transform and knowing I had even a small role in shaping the city, those are all some of the major highlights of my career. But the hours were brutal. Overnights, sleeping on office couches, weekends canceled. I almost blew it when I finally met a handsome, eligible bachelor who tried to ask me out on several dates, only to have me cancel on him over and over again until he finally gave up on me. Luckily, he agreed to give me one more shot when I eventually reached back out. And thankfully, 22 years later, he's still by my side. But let's be real. Those rooms I was in, I was usually the only woman, and more likely than not, the only person of color. At closings, which until recently were all in person, in conference rooms where no one left the room until the deal closed, which often would run for days. Even though I was clearly the one running point on the deal, doing all the work, someone would inevitably refer to me as the girl and ask me to make copies. And when I took maternity leave, I watched male colleagues take over my deals, get promoted, make partner, make more money. Not because I wasn't ready, but because I had stopped and stepped away to have a child. Something society still treats as optional. It isn't optional. Women continue to be well represented in law school and entry-level real estate positions, often outnumbering men. However, their presence drops sharply at partner and leadership levels in both industries, with minority women and women of color being particularly underrepresented. This is a phenomenon that McKinsey recently coined as the broken rung, and its effects compound throughout women's careers. Women fall behind at the start and then have a hard time catching up. They get burned out and often leave the workplace. We lose out on what they describe as experience capital. While about half of a person's lifetime earnings come from education, half come from experience. Men tend to get more value from their experience than women do. If we make it over that broken rung, it still will take us longer to catch up to men when it comes to promotions and compensation. And that's why communities like WX matter. Because here, we don't just talk about empowerment, we live it. We mentor, we advocate, we remind one another we belong here. Initiatives like WX's mentoring and networking programs, the events like our golf, tennis, pickleball outing, and this gala play a crucial role in providing meaningful support. When we unite, show up together, have wine together, share stories and experiences, mourn together, laugh together, find ways to work together, this is where the magic happens. And so I want to thank all of you for your support tonight. I am sure that Lauren and Mimi and the WX board were not the only leaders of an organization concerned about the impact of current efforts to thwart progress towards more equal and inclusive communities. I know that many of you are facing these challenges within your own companies and organizations, and yet, despite potential scrutiny, you've shown up today. So thank you. Thank you to all of you who bought tickets. Thank you to all of you, our new and returning sponsors. Thank you for all of you who donated towards the successes tonight. I especially want to thank my Blank Room family, who really showed up for me tonight. From our chair, Graham Palmer, and leaders of the firm like Larry Flick and my amazing partners, Sam Wallach, and your others, your support means so much to me. You guys are all awesome, and I am so proud to be your partner. To my family, who really also showed up. My awesome baby brother, who flew in from LA. Stop crying, I'm gonna start crying too. My amazing sister, Juhi Malhotra, who recently got her doctorate in social work. My parents finally got one doctor in the family. And was recently promoted to an assistant dean at NYU Social School program. Rishi Malhotra, my amazing brother, and their fantastic children. To my boys, Caleb, my smart soul and piano virtuoso. Janik, my sweet, loving, and talented spirit, and my partner for life, Chris. You all keep me grounded and give me real purpose. There is nothing in the world I am more grateful for than all of you. But I have to say, all credit for all of my blessings, however, go to my most awesome, inspirational parents, Doctors Rajinder and Amarjeet Uppal. Through your lessons as survivors and pioneers, you have shown us that through education, hard work, and staying true to ourselves, nothing is out of our reach, but to always look out for others along the way and bring people up around us wherever we go. Finally, to WX and the board, and major thank you to Mimi Ray-Goretsky, the Gala committee, and especially Jeannie Freebie, of the Berman Group. You ladies crush it always and throw the best industry party of the year. Which, by the way, will continue after here, so I hope you all took your naps this afternoon because the Toll Guy's coming back, and so will there be music and drinks at the Oak Room later, so don't forget that. Now, just finally, to the next generation of leaders that are in this room, and I know because I have mentored many of you, and I know from the caliber of the scholars who are in this room tonight, some messages. Be curious, be bold, be you. You belong here. You don't have to shrink. You don't have to wait your turn. Pivot when life demands it, and always, always carry others with you as you rise. We here at WX change neighborhoods, we shape skylines, and most importantly, we create space for the women who will come after us. That is our work, that is the legacy, and I'm so proud to be part of it here with all of you tonight. Thank you very much.